"I am the punishment of God, a force of divine retribution, descending upon the wicked. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you," a chilling declaration, leaving no room for doubt about the speaker's purpose. These words, often attributed to Genghis Khan, paint him as a fearsome force of nature, a brutal conqueror whose name evokes images of destruction and terror. But what if this was only one part of a much larger story? A single brushstroke in a complex portrait? What if the man who built the largest land empire in history, a realm stretching across continents, was driven by a surprisingly modern practical philosophy, a set of principles that valued merit, loyalty, and the common good? To understand Genghis Khan, we must look beyond the battlefield, beyond the sieges and the conquests, to the principles forged in the harsh Mongolian steppe, the crucible that shaped his character and his vision. Young Temujin's world was chaos, a landscape of constant struggle and uncertainty, feuding tribes, betrayal, constant warfare and survival under the eternal blue sky, the Tengri central to their beliefs, a constant reminder of the vastness and power of the world around them. After his father's murder, Temujin's clan abandoned him, leaving him to fend for himself in a brutal world. He was hunted, enslaved, forced to endure unimaginable hardship, and learned firsthand the injustices of the tribal system, the arbitrary power of chiefs, and the vulnerability of the weak. These hardships taught him that loyalty mattered more than blood, that true bonds were forged in shared struggle, ability more than birth, that competence and skill should be valued above lineage and privilege, and shared rules were the only protection for the weak, the only way to create a just and stable society. Imagine children on a windy beach, their laughter echoing in the salty air, each building their own sandcastle, carefully crafting their individual creations, only to see them destroyed by the relentless tide. One suggests working together to build something greater, a fortress that can withstand the waves. That's what Temujin envisioned, a world where individual efforts were combined for a greater purpose, not just conquering tribes and expanding territory, but uniting them to build a resilient nation under shared laws and purpose, a nation that could endure the storms of history. He invited rivals to join a bigger project, to contribute their skills and strength to a common cause, a single people protected by a wall of unity, a shield against the chaos of the world. His vision was born from hardship, not privilege, forged in the fires of adversity, and aimed at transforming chaos into community, turning a fragmented world into a unified whole. This was the foundation of everything Genghis Khan would become, the bedrock upon which he would build his empire. Temujin's journey, from a childhood marked by hardship and loss, to becoming Genghis Khan, the revered universal ruler, was not a matter of mere chance or accident. It was in essence a revolution in leadership, a complete paradigm shift. He began with absolutely nothing, stripped of privilege and power, gathering around him outcasts, the marginalized and loyal friends who shared a common belief in fairness, justice and merit, not in the advantages of birthright or social standing. He systematically broke up the deeply entrenched old tribal loyalties, fundamentally reorganizing the people into entirely new units where demonstrated skill, unwavering loyalty, and proven merit mattered most. It was like a sports team meticulously built on the principles of open tryouts, where the best and most capable rose swiftly to the top, and everyone, regardless of their background, learned to play cohesively for the greater good of the team, not for their old clique or personal gain. In the momentous year of 1206, a great council, representing all the tribes, formally recognized him as Genghis Khan, effectively uniting the disparate tribes into a single formidable nation. This was far more than a mere coronation or symbolic gesture. It was in reality the very birth of the mighty Mongol Empire, a society fundamentally built on entirely new rules, principles, and a strong sense of shared identity. He definitively proved to the world that a fragmented, often warring people could in fact unite and become a powerful, world-altering nation. The Mongol Empire was not simply a conquering army or a military force, but a completely new and innovative way of organizing and structuring society itself. The first and perhaps most crucial pillar of Genghis Khan's governing philosophy was meritocracy. It was a radical departure from the norms of his time. In essence, what you could demonstrably do mattered far more than who you were by birth or social standing. Your skills and abilities were the true currency. In much of the world at that time, birth almost entirely determined destiny. Lineage and noble blood were the keys to power and influence. Genghis Khan fundamentally shattered this deeply entrenched system, promoting individuals based purely on their demonstrated skill, unwavering loyalty, and proven competence, completely independent of their lineage. He famously elevated Jebe, who was once his sworn enemy on the battlefield, to the position of a top general, a testament to Jebe's battlefield courage and strategic thinking, witnessed firsthand by Khan. The underlying message was clear and powerful. Your past affiliations and tribal origins simply didn't matter in his eyes. What truly mattered, and what would be rewarded, were demonstrable talent and unwavering loyalty to the cause. This revolutionary approach unleashed a vast reservoir of human potential that had long been suppressed by the rigid constraints of tradition and social hierarchy. Imagine building a magnificent structure using every single Lego brick available, and not just the noble or pre-selected ones deemed worthy by outdated standards. By utilizing all available talent, you inevitably create something far stronger, more resilient, and infinitely more interesting. Genghis Khan rigorously applied this principle across every facet of his expanding empire, from his most trusted generals to regional governors, and even down to the seemingly mundane roles of tax collectors. All positions were meticulously filled based solely on proven ability and competence. The result was a government that was remarkably efficient, surprisingly effective, and radically different in its operational integrity from the rampant nepotism and corruption that plagued his rivals' regimes. By steadfastly focusing on identifying and nurturing talent wherever it could be found, he forged an empire that was governed not by the whims of the privileged elite, but by the capable hands of those most suited to lead and administer. This unwavering commitment to meritocracy was undoubtedly a key factor in the Mongol Empire's stunning and unprecedented success. The second pillar was law and order. Genghis Khan knew chaos destroyed societies, so he created the Yasa, a strict universal code. The Yasa covered everything from military discipline to personal conduct, promoting unity and stability. Laws banned kidnapping, theft, and feuding, and enforced mutual responsibility. Everyone looked out for each other. Think of it as traffic laws for an empire. Everyone, rich or poor, followed the same rules. Even Genghis Khan's family was not above the law. This predictability allowed trade and travel to flourish across the empire. The Pax Mongolica brought security and prosperity, connecting east and west. Law replaced violence, making the Mongol world safer and more connected than ever. The third pillar was tolerance. Genghis Khan, though deeply spiritual, refused to force his beliefs on others. As long as people obeyed the law and paid taxes, they could worship as they wished. He invited leaders of many faiths to share their wisdom, seeking knowledge, not conversion. Religious leaders and scholars were exempt from taxes, valued for their contributions to society. Imagine a garden with many flowers. Diversity made the empire stronger and more resilient. This policy minimized resistance and allowed local cultures to thrive under Mongol rule. The Mongols governed vast, diverse lands by embracing difference, not erasing it. Tolerance was a pragmatic strength, not a weakness. Centuries later, Genghis Khan's ideas echo in our world. Meritocracy, law, and tolerance are ideals we still strive for, in business, sports, and society. His empire was an early experiment in unleashing human potential, proving that talent beats privilege. The Mongol postal system, the Yam, was the internet of its day, connecting continents and spreading ideas. Trade, technology, and culture flowed along Mongol routes, shaping the modern world. His free trade zone foreshadowed today's global agreements. His pragmatic tolerance offers lessons for managing diversity and building unity. Genghis Khan's legacy is a reminder: tolerance and merit create resilient societies. Genghis Khan's story began under the eternal blue sky, a symbol of unity above all divisions. He sought to bring fractured tribes together under one law, inspired by the sky's vastness. We can see him as both destroyer and creator, tyrant and visionary. He replaced endless conflict with communication, privilege with merit, and chaos with order. His principles, meritocracy, law, tolerance, and global connection, still challenge us today. We debate fairness, security, and diversity just as he did, though on a different scale. His radical solutions invite us to ask, what unifying principle guides us now? As you look at our connected, conflicted world, what is your great sky?